Good morning, everyone. This is Meg at Chasing Retro. I have a series of spring and Easter journals to do flip-throughs of today. This is video number 1 of several. This one is reserved. Actually, all of them are reserved, but I wanted to get on and show them for the purpose of the buyer to look at it, preview it, and make sure it's what we're looking for and hoping for, and also just to give you guys some ideas for decorating and creating journals. This is the first time I've done a spring or Easter journal in a couple of years, and I must say, I think from now on I'm going to have to make them every year because they're so fun. This one is, all of them are actually very chunky, 4 signature 2-inch spine junk journals. I wanted to pack them very full of wonderful things, and each of them will come with a seed packet. The Easter themed journals will have a scrappy tie made with spring themed fabrics, and the 2 Reader's Digest spring themed journals will have another type of closure. Page count. That's a good question. I started out doing 14 to 15 per signature, but I ended up adding a few more as I went along, maybe 3 or 4 more. So I'm gonna say 16 to 17 pages per signature, maybe. One signature may have 14, one may have 17. I decided, you know what, if it looks like it could take another page, I'm gonna add it because I had so many things that I just really wanted to include in these. And so I hope it's okay with the buyers that I don't have an exact page count for them, but just know that it will be whatever that is times 4, and then double that for back and front writing space. So let's go ahead and go into the Little Duck Who Liked the Rain Blinky book. This is a very old book that I believe I found at a library book sale. It was a donated store item at a library somewhat near me. I had to drive a little bit to get to it. I will be going back to this library because they had a lot of vintage books, but I've held on to this book a couple of years just waiting for the right opportunity to use it. I had never heard of these before, but the eyes supposedly used to be googly eyes that moved. They don't move anymore. I did not want to try to make them move again, like hitting it against something, because I was afraid that I would mess it up and his eyes would be crossed or something. So I decided to leave them as they are. There's the back. Beautiful, beautiful little images here. I just love it. And then on the spine, I have some vintage seersucker in beautiful spring colors, and then the tassel has colors in it that match the cover. Okay, right inside we have a little corner pocket. We have a glittery Easter egg journaling card with a bow on the top. Some of the things that I'm using in these journals were sent to me by Lou in our swap. I'll link her channel below. She and I did an Easter journal swap, and she sent more than enough, so I was able to scatter some of her items throughout multiple journals. So thank you for that, Lou. We have this cute little a note sheet and a little tiny journaling card. This kind of makes me laugh because it looks like this is what he's wearing, and that's a little bow tie. So that's why I put that there. We have a double pocket here. We have a vintage playing card. This is one of the laminated circles that I cut out when I was playing with my laminator, and it has a smooth back for writing, and then a little journaling card. This is some stamp. I did some stamping with some Stampin' Up stamps that I had that were, I guess, for backgrounds. Little ditzy floral. And this little bunny came out of a Jack and Jill magazine. Up here, this is actually the inside of a greeting card. It's embossed, and then I put some vintage quilt square here, and a lot of fussy cuts from children's books are in these journals, so you'll see those glued throughout. Here's a fabric tag with some vintage fabric from an estate sale and some alcohol sprayed back. And here is some scrapbook paper. I actually scored a pack of spring scrapbook paper at my craft reuse store that I think someone said that It may be 4 or 5 years old. It's from Echo Park. So I was able to use a lot of pages from that. Here's a belly band with a little punched eyelet border. And then here we just have a little note sheet with a little lamb and some ducklings. This is from a children's book. And all of the story pages are intact and in order. They kind of skip around. I think 3 of the signatures have story pages and 1 does not in this one. The illustrations are just beautiful though. I have a little tulip dangle on this paper clip. And then here we have a tag made out of a master board and some of that block printing that I did. Little song sheet, punched paper. This is an ideals page with an Easter lily. I forgot to put something in this. This is where I'll put the seed packet. This is just a little up-tuck pocket. This book is called, I think it's called The Bunny and the Golden Shoes. The Country Bunny and the Little Golden Shoes. I had never seen that story before. Somehow, with my daughter, a bunny lover, I overlooked it, but I was able to use a lot of the images from that. I love the colors in it. And I'll just tuck this little seed packet here. Here's some gold fringe trim. Little tiny chick sticker. This is a shaker page. You'll have to kind of fiddle with it to get it moving, but lots of different glitter and texture in there. And this is some vintage bunny cellophane, like a gift basket wrap. This is also from a greeting card, and this is from a vintage reader. In the center here, we have a family circus, a recipe card, and an Easter egg notepad sheet. And I put little paper shapes on the string in the middle of each signature as well. Here's a label. It's like a little cluster. And this is from the book of colors that I have. I use it a lot. You find these colors in the wild and write down where you found them. And this is a piece of ephemera that I recently received in Happy Mail. A little coupon for some bulbs, I think. This, I just had this little idea to make a chocolate bunny like the ones that I used to get as a kid. Their eyes always had a yellow background and blue center, and they almost always had a little blue bow. So I sewed that down to make sure it stayed. And this is some more stamping that I did. Some of this is Stampin' Up. I think this one might be from Michael's. Some trim here. Here's a little tuck spot envelope. The butterfly holds it closed, and we have a little embossed card in there. And we have a planner sheet from 1953 and another fabric tag. Here's just a little notepad with some fun papers. Here's an Easter seal from a couple of years ago and a little paper flower. This is just a little snippet strip. I love to do these with scraps that I have left over. Here's an embossed pocket and a laminated chick on some vintage wallpaper. And inside here is one of Lou's digitals. She has digitals available in her Ko-fi shop, which she links to in her YouTube videos. And this is another fabric tag with ditzy floral and spring colors. The end of the first signature has a little duckling from a greeting card that I backed on the cardstock. And here's a vintage wallpaper tag and another picture from a reader. We have an up-tuck pocket with, this is a This is a vintage postcard image that I found in an Ideals magazine. I backed it onto file folder. And this is another image from that children's book. This is where they store, the Easter Bunny stores all of the dyed eggs before taking them to children's houses. I thought that was so funny. This is from Ideals, and I'd created a little tuck spot out of it. And this is I think it's a reproduction of a vintage postcard. Here's an Ideal page with a little kitty cat. I also used a little children's book called The Chocolate Bunny, and so some of these images are from that. This is from a 1960s era sticker book. These little books where you would punch the stickers out and put them in the right place. Here's a vintage Hallmark coaster. Some computer paper. I cut out some wildflowers from a book that I have, so they're scattered throughout these as well. This is from a book, I think 365 Bedtime Stories, and it has some Richard Scarry illustrations in it. Here's a fabric flip with some Easter fabric. A cluster, I believe Carrie the Paper Monkey made this. I punched some yellow vellum, an account statement, some baby blue pom-pom trim, and the center of this one has some butterflies and some alcohol spray paper. I thought it looked like a speckled Easter egg. This is decoupage napkin. This is a KB and Friends printable, and I made a little TV card this came from Jack and Jill magazine that looked like a little TV, advertising some shows coming on, so I turned it into a little TV. Little Easter egg on the back of that. Here's some trim, and then this is a garland, and I just cut off one of the bunnies from that, and this is some vintage gift wrap made into a tag. Here's another little sewn down scrap decoration. I did a little vintage label with the word spring. Here's another laminated image of some little ducklings. It's shiny. I just stapled that on. And to cover the staple, I put a little carrot patch embellishment. And then here's a plate of carrots, a little sticker. I sewed a ticket to the edge of that page. This is one of Lou's digitals, and this is some decoupage napkin. And attached to this little paper clip, we have a little tiny butterfly on the front, and the back it says "Created for You." Here is a laminated pocket with some rain boots. And tucked inside we have a mail order envelope with an index card and a little journaling card. And this is another decoupage napkin tag. A fabric pocket here. And then we have a journaling, I guess a flip up. And then some more napkin on music this time. Here is a little Easter basket that I created using some Easter basket digital or wicker digital paper. And then I made 3 little Easter eggs that come out for journaling. This is some vintage velvet trim that I recently received in a haul that I had. I made a belly band with some images from the paper pack that I bought, and then I did some eyelets to back it. And this is from a children's, not a board book, but the thicker pages, and I didn't want to cover up any of it, so I just put it in there like that. This is scented drawer liner from Crabtree and Evelyn. It's called Summer Hill. It's not too strong though. It's vintage, so it's lost a lot of its scent. This is a little kite that I created out of a quilt square. And then I just put some cut grosgrain ribbon as bows and a satin ribbon. Here is a vintage Easter card. Oh, anniversary card. Lou sent me this. It's some iron-on transfer. Here's some blue chip stamps and a doily. There's some vintage eyelet trim that I got from Rhonda. Thank you, Rhonda. And then some green ribbon. Vintage gift wrap. This is from a vintage book about God. Some flower punched paper. Another vintage greeting card. I don't remember where I got this one, but she's so precious. And then a little fabric tab. This is textured white core cardstock that I just ripped the edge of. And this is from my fabric master board. Here's another little page from that storybook. And then a little tag. This is from a childcraft book. I just cut the image out and put it onto yellow cardstock. This is also from Childcraft. This is from a children's Sunday school book. A little vintage tally and little ducklings. The center of this one is just a cardstock page with some butterflies. This is one of the stamping images that I created. I cut around it and made a tuck spot. This is some gift wrap with a butterfly on top. And this is one of Lou's digitals. She made inchies, I think that's what they're called, and then embossed it and then sewed. So I thought that turned out really cool. Here's a little fabric cluster. This is another image from the book about the golden shoes. Here's some carrot trim and some chick trim. Here is a library card. Little sticker. This is a sticker from either the late 80s or early 90s. I got this at the estate sale a couple weeks ago. Some vintage trim. This is from an old Michaels paper pad that had already cut out shapes, and I backed it onto vellum and made a corner pocket. And this is from a children's Bible book. Here is just a little corner band with a 3D pop-up Easter egg. And this is a tag that Lou gave me with, she punched it with her Cricut. I think that's what it's called. Big Shot, something like that. And this is a vintage animal card, or hearts game, sorry. And this is from a book. I don't remember which book, but it was lovely. And so I cut it up and made several journaling cards out of it. I created this little flower pot. I just went and found some free templates, traced around them, and created this. And then tucked inside is a little flower that you can journal on the back. Here's another one of those inchies digitals, and a digital from Lou here. A napkin decoupage journaling card, and a little memo sheet with some Richard Scarry illustrations on it. I had to put this in here. It's about ducks playing in the rain. My aunt gave me this paper. It's sort of marbleized tissue paper. Here's a coloring sheet. This is from a children's dictionary and some stationery that Lou gave me with dandelions on it. Some vintage jacquard trim and a crocheted flower. This is from a seed company pretty near me, well, about 2 hours from me. A recipe page, This is some gift wrap with raindrops on it. This is from a children's dictionary. I love that image. Blue graph paper. This is from Jack and Jill, I believe, calendar. Oops. This is very old gift wrap made onto a tag, and then I put some hair yarn. And this is an envelope that's been decoupaged, and inside of it is a little journaling card. We have little flowers here. Some Bunny Loves You. These look just like little peeps. These stamps that I have, I got them from my craft reuse store. Here's a craft card from a vintage craft box. This is from a greeting card. This is a little coin envelope that I put a book image of on, and then made a little stamping phrase. And this is some layered stencils that I found at my craft reuse store. I love them. I think they're so cute. And this is another page from that Country Bunny book. I just wanted to include it as it was. The shoes made her fly. That's why she's in the air. I thought that was so cute. We have mini pockets over here with a little bunny tag and a little chick card. And then 2 little tickets up here. This is just a little paper cluster. Another vintage sticker. Flipped here, we just have 2 little journaling cards made with some Easter themed cardstock. And some vintage pale green eyelet lace. I stamped these eggs and just glued them down here. Here's a paper cluster, a fabric cluster. Decoupage pocket. I stamped that. A music note with a vintage sewing pattern girl, and a vintage wallpaper tag with another stamped bunny. And in the back, I normally don't do a pocket on the last page, but I did with these. This is from my master board, and we have a little Rolodex card. This is a digital from Lou, and then I stamped all these little bunnies to make another journaling card. That's the end. Stay tuned for a flip through of the others. Thanks for watching.